Good evening. Stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank the veterans and their families for the sacrifices that you have made. We appreciate it. Okay. First up on the agenda, we have the minutes from the September 19, 2023 regular meeting provided to Mayor and Council on September 20th. I did find, I think, a small typo, but other than that, which I think has already been corrected, so that's something I pointed out to you as soon as you cut it off. But anyway, if there are any other corrections or concerns on the minutes? If no concerns or corrections, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? First up is the financial department report. I'll call on our CPA, Rachel, for that one.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. You do have in front of you the financial report, first in summary version and then in detail version. There's nothing in particular that is of concern that I need to bring to your attention. We're in a good place in revenues. We're anxiously anticipating property tax revenues coming in. This is always kind of a dry season for government because we're running out of taxes before we get our next influx of revenues. But we are pacing well from other revenue streams that we have coming in. From an expenditure perspective, nothing that really needs significant variances that needs any attention or needs to be addressed by council. We do have some cleanup items that we're going to address, such as the police department. We have got some overtime for events that's listed as a regular overtime line item, and so we're working on correcting that. But nothing that warrants any concern that we need to discuss, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you see something that you have questions about. It's a little early to have any real budget variances to talk about, so.
Yeah. Good to hear that we're in good shape.
We are. So far, so good.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
If you don't mind, I'll turn the police report over to Captain.
I don't mind, don't you let me look at what we sent you, because I don't know it by heart. Look at you not letting me look. I've got one here, thank you. Thank you. We typically report this monthly so that the council knows what kind of activity level we have at the police department. And in September of 2023, we responded to 26 incidents with a year-to-date total of 357. We worked 8 accidents with a year-to-date total of 61. We had 14 arrests with a year-to-date total of 210. 85 traffic stops with a year-to-date total of 1415. 41 citations and 62 warnings, year-to-date totals of 619 and 1031, another one of those revenue sources, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for voluntary compliance. We had 50 reports, so we've done a total of 518 reports, 150 business checks, and 90 neighborhood checks. We've done almost 4,000 business checks and almost 2,300 residence checks. And when I say residence checks, that means we rode through your neighborhood, we logged it with dispatch, and our AVLs, or automatic vehicle locators, GPS, show that that's where we were. We can pull up our routes and see where our officers have been the whole 12 hours that you're on duty. So we hold them accountable because we expect you to hold us accountable. And, we also worked the Sunflower Festival, had a great time, and if it hadn't rained, I think it would have been a record Sunflower Festival. And we utilized 3 salaried employees and 3 hourly employees. We cut our overtime for the Sunflower Festival in half. We were very proud of that. Last year it was almost $3,000 overtime. This year it was less than $1,000. So we're excited about that. We're trying to be fiscally responsible. We know that you're our wife, and so we work hard to give you what you pay for. Thank you.
I have a question, Captain Nichols, if you don't mind. Would you explain, like, maybe to the city and the council, the little parking debacle that we had during the festival up on 211?
With your permission, Mayor. We had a few cars that parked on 211, just past Broad Street, and they parked in the road. Well, obviously, that's a hazard. They were not just a little bit in the road, they were at least a third of the way in the road. Some of them were half in the road and half out of the road. 211 is a state road. You can't block 211. Because to go around these parked cars, you have to go head on into oncoming traffic. That's unacceptable. That puts our citizens at risk. We towed a few cars and angered a few folks, but we will always err on the side of public safety. If you were towed or you know somebody who was, we don't apologize. We did our jobs, and that's what you paid us to do. If I do one more thing, I should stand up and let them see your shirt. These shirts are for sale at the State Police Department. The proceeds go to the Breast Cancer Foundation. I happen to be a 24-year breast cancer survivor. So for those of you that you took it, who's breast cancer survivor? You know, I'm so proud I can't say it. So if you want one of these shirts, please come by the police department and pick one up. This is the first time we've tried anything like that. And we're going to, if that works, then we may do some other things. But that's our October T-shirt, and you're welcome to have one for the nice price of $25. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Kevin, I do have one question.
I'm sorry.
The speed signs out here, do you have any information on when those will be working again? Are they working again?
We are working with the vendor to try to get them out here. They've come out and reset them several times. So what we do when the signs are not working, we just void out the tickets. We don't expect people to pay for tickets that aren't justified. Those signs are not there to generate revenue, they're there to save kids. And if we save one kid, it's worth everything we've done to have those signs up. So we're aware of the problem, we're working on it, but a lot of it's outside of our control.
I just didn't know if the vendor had given an update or...
As far as I know, they haven't. Now, Sergeant Hood may be able to tell you more. I'm not familiar with anything, but I know we have been in contact with them multiple times.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
They had to order a part, I think it was the last that he talked to me. They recalibrated it, I guess it lasted for a little bit, and whatever the device is, they had to replace. So, but, thank you for that.
Is that at both schools or just...
Yes, sir, it's at both schools, Bear Creek and Stone Elementary, those same kinds of issues at both schools. And it's gonna happen again when the time changes.
Any other questions for the captain? Okay. Next thing is the Public Works Department report. They've been pretty busy with some of the major jobs here recently, and they had a couple of places where they had to bore under the road for water service. And we had the hot water tank basically blew up at Bridges Park. That's been replaced and has been rented. And since we put the heating and air units in at Bridges, we've had pretty much every single weekend, at least one day rental, with a few exceptions. But typically it was 3, 4, maybe a half a dozen days out of the week, out of the year that got rented due to weather. So that's coming along very nicely. We've had good compliments about the facilities over there. They've set quite a few new meters for some of these homes. and repaired several of the 3/4 inch water lines that have sprung leaks. So they have been pretty busy. They did limb pickup, Dooleytown, Aikens Road, and throughout the city. They had 9 loads of tree debris. So when Bobby picks up, believe me, when he says it's loaded, he's loaded. So, to my knowledge, other than the ones that were put out after the storm, no one was charged for the limb pickup because, with these water issues that they've had and some of the repairs, Bobby wasn't able to run for almost 4 weeks, so it wasn't fair to charge people for storm damage. There were some that was obvious that it was put out after the fact, but I think with the exception of 1 or 2, that it was paid for by the city for storm damage. That concludes with the reports. We have a gentleman here tonight, his name is Brian Grayson. He represents Gordian. This is a job ordering contracting company. So, I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you, Bjorn. Good evening, Brian Grayson, the Gordian Group, based out of Greenville, South Carolina. I also cover Georgia, obviously, for Gordian. So, been speaking with Mr. Piper here the past few weeks. We manage a state contract through the Georgia Department of Administrative Services. The actual technical term for it is an IDIQ contract, which stands for Indefinite Delivery, Indefinite Quantity Contract, and it just helps municipalities procure construction work that you can utilize on an as-needed basis for a broad range of work. The city actually used it a few years ago, I believe, to complete a community center re-roof, I believe. Okay, yeah. So, Mr. Piper asked me to come in because I know it's been a few years, wanted me to just kind of update everyone on the program, how it worked. He had mentioned that y'all have a few projects coming up. I thought might be a good fit for one of the general contractors that we have available through the program there. So, just to kind of go through how it works, it's, again, an IDIQ contract that can be utilized on an as-needed basis by municipalities throughout the state. There's no binding requirements as far as how frequently you utilize it or when you use it, for upfront obligation or contracts you have to sign. But what it is it's a fixed price cost model called the Construction Task Catalog that has over 275,000 fixed price and line items in it that covers all divisions of trades of construction. So anything from a re-roof to road paving to doing an interior renovation for a building or replacing doors and so forth. So each one of the line items in that catalog contains any type of equipment, material, or labor that's incurred within that specific task. So what Georgia DOAS did is they put this contract out to competitive bid, just like a normal RFP process, where they advertised, they did pre-bid meetings with these general contractors, and then the GCs were able to bid on the contract by applying what's known as an adjustment factor to those fixed price and line items in the catalog. That would be their markup for their services. So it would cover any sort of overhead or cost they would incur within the process. And then once they've applied that adjustment factor, they submit it back to DOAS, just like a regular bidding process. Last time this was bid out, I believe there were over 80 GCs throughout the state that bid on this contract, and then DOAS awarded, there's currently 24 available that you can access to complete a broad range of work depending on what you're looking to do. So what it is just another method to procure construction work out your standard bid build or design bid build process, CM at risk, just in, like I said, additional resource, so to speak. So if you do, say, need to meet deadlines for funding, or say if you're having trouble procuring work, or whatever it may be, just another way that you can get work done in a more efficient manner because it satisfies those competitive bidding requirements up front, just to help save time, but also just create a much more transparent process too, because of each line item in the proposal that we deliver is tied to a specific cost. Makes it very transparent, very auditable, and just easy to follow through there. We can collaborate with you, help you develop a scope of work, as well as make revisions to the proposal as you see fit there. So that's the proposal in a nutshell. As far as how the process works now, As far as specific projects and how that works, we follow a standard 5-step process. The first one would be to set up what we refer to as a joint scope meeting, where you will select one of the general contractors available from that pool of 24. If you're not sure who to go with, one of our account managers from Gordian can help make a recommendation for you based on best qualifications for that specific project. At that point, we would set the time for the general contractor and that account manager from Gordian to come on site, meet with you and your team, to walk the job, and just collaborate to discuss the scope of work, what needs to be done. And once that's been developed and the scope of work's been approved by you and your team, that general contractor would put together a price proposal around that scope of work. Once that proposal's been approved, utilizing that construction task catalog, they would pass it over to the account manager from Gordian that was on site with them. They would review that proposal for accuracy, just making sure it's covering the full scope, it's auditable, there's nothing that needs to be added or removed. Once they've approved that, we would deliver it to you and your team at no cost. And typically we'll do like a conference call, we can meet with you in person and review the proposal with you. Give you a chance to ask any questions, raise any concerns, go back and make revisions to the proposal as you see fit. And then once we deliver the proposal to you and your team, you would go through your approval process to determine if you'd like to move forward with the proposal or multiple proposals that we deliver to you there. So up until you approve the proposal and place the PO with the general contractor in that process, you don't actually spend any money through this, you don't incur any costs. The only time you would incur any sort of cost would be if you place a PO with that general contractor. Just a quick overview of the process, how it works. Any questions you'd like me to clarify?
So there's no fee for any estimates or anything?
No, sir, no upfront cost to the city at all, nothing, no cost for us to come on site or any estimate or anything like that. What we can do, say if you are trying to get like a budgetary number, a lot of times we can do what's called a ROM, or rough order of magnitude, certain projects if you want. But yeah, typically we will go and just develop that fixed price work order proposal and deliver it to you so you know exactly what the cost is going to be for that project. So this makes it a lot easier for budgeting. It's not an estimate that we're delivering to you because the fixed price of that cost that we give you is going to be the cost of the project there. Other questions?
So if you did, you're doing the bidding process.
Well, the DOS did the bidding process, and we manage the process.
Okay.
So, yeah, Georgia DOAS, they put that through an RFP process, competitive bidding process with these GCs, and we just manage it for them. So to give you further context, they actually did 2 bidding processes. First, they bid this out for the administrator of the program, which we won, and then they did another bidding process for the general contractors that you can access through this program.
So would they have, would the city have more than one option that's bid on a particular job? Or
So you would only work with one GC per job, but say if, just an example, say you had, I know we discussed like you had a re-roof and you wanted to select one GC for that, and you had like a paving project, you wanted to select a different GC for that project, you could do that if you want. However, one of the big benefits of this, because it has been satisfied up front, you can bring a GC out and they can walk multiple jobs for you at the same time, deliver multiple proposals if you'd like. But if you'd like to do it that way, you can do that as well. It's one of the benefits of this program. There's a lot of flexibility as far as how you'd like to do it. But typically, once you start a job with a general contractor, kind of see it through with them just to help, kind of streamline that process for you. The other thing I'll mention to you is you're only selecting a general contractor through this program. If you do have preferred local subs you'd like them to get quotes for specific jobs, as long as you let us know that front, whether it be at that joint scope meeting or before, they can get quotes from them for this as well. Any type of inclusion requirements or any type of local business requirements you need satisfied for a subs through this process, we can make sure those are satisfied again as long as you communicate with us upfront on those. Any other questions?
questions on that? I'm gonna pass this over to Rachel. She and I had talked a little bit earlier before the meeting.
Yeah, and we were trying to determine what the margin was, what's the typical expenditure for going through the Gordian arrangement versus going out and piggybacking on the state contract directly?
Well, it really just depends, it's on, I want to say, on what you're looking at, because this contract's big, it's not like a single job per se, where they're bidding on that for, just a single RFP. They're bidding on this for like a large volume of work. That margin is spread out over a large volume of work as opposed to just one job there. So, I guess you could go out through, use the state contract directly, but then you wouldn't really have anyone managing the overall process for you. So that's one thing, you wouldn't have us overseeing and making sure they're developing an auditable and just all proposal around the scope. So you have that, so you could do that, but then again, it kind of takes the administrative side out of it there, so to speak. But I'm sorry, just to elaborate too, as far as the actual proposal as well, it can kind of depend with that, because we are making sure that we're reviewing that proposal too. A lot of times we can make sure if there's certain line items that need to be removed, or just reduce that scope to make sure that they're not inflating the cost, that can help as well, so.
Okay. And I think this was already asked, but when you go out to the point of selecting a GEC, you can't do any kind of competitive process there and say out of the 24, we want, 3 to compete, or if we want to get 3 prizes from your GECs, we just have to, forgive me, think that we're getting the best deal out of the 24?
That's correct, because this has already been put through a competitive bidding process up front. We usually don't pit these guys up against each other once again, so typically we won't put them, once she's been selected, we try to see that through, as long as everything goes smoothly there. So yeah, typically you're just going to work with one. However, as Mr. Patterson said before, he asked about the cost. So after we deliver the proposal, and that's why we do these proposal reviews after we deliver to give you a chance to ask questions. And you can look over and say, hey, why is this line item in here? Or is there maybe a more cost-effective option for this line item? So although you're only working with one GC, you still get a chance to have them give you input and just develop that proposal that best fits what you're looking for within your budget, and making sure they're, again, with us overseeing the process to it, just makes sure they're not trying to slide an extra line items as well. So I will also say, even after we deliver that proposal, say if for whatever reason you decide, we think we could do better in another process, you can walk away without having to spend any money through the program as well. So it's just another, it's a little bit different, I know, because you're used to that RFP process where you get those competitive bids, so I know what you're coming from. I get that question a lot, yeah, so. But yeah, that's what I would say as far as, it's just a very helpful tool to make sure that for when you're getting a good, solid proposal up front, instead of having to go back, say, through an RFP process and negotiate with them, and just making sure that it's going to fit your needs there. That's the big thing with this, is there's no, with like a normal RFP, where a lot of times people try to low bid and win it. With this, there's no real incentive for them to do that. They're trying to work with you and make sure they're giving you the best options there up front.
Okay.
What kind of background check do you do that you have contractors?
DOAS does a background check on them through that bidding process, as far as just making sure they're vetting, they're qualified and bond and whatnot when they're doing that initial bidding process there.
And I think you do get I do think you get a better vendor through that kind of process, because they have a lot to lose if they don't successfully complete your job.
Absolutely.
So I see that side of it as well.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. There's, this is what we like to call a performance-based contract. Even though they won it, there's no obligation for them to keep getting work through this. So if they're not performing, say, meeting deadlines, doing quality work, they're not going to keep getting work through it, even though they technically won the contract there. So, yeah, you're exactly right. That's where that goes.
And that's kind of y'all's role too.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, making sure we're overseeing that, making sure they're, like I said, being responsive, meeting deadlines, just, and like I said, when they're developing that policy, we're looking through it. That's why we come out on site with them, just kind of double checking their work, making sure, our account managers are seeing the same thing they're seeing and so forth.
Like me, my car, you get yours, because I'm going to have some additional questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. That'd be my point.
Okay. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pass that over.
thank you very much.
All right, appreciate your time, thank you.
If you want to head out,
Have you had
I'll,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Take your time, Steve. Yeah, you can answer the question, slow it down. Yeah, if you want to do a comment.
next on the agenda, early this week, I was asked by Captain Jesse Knight, when our next meeting was, and, asked to be on the agenda. So at this point, Captain Jesse Knight, would like to.
I'm gonna introduce him if you don't mind, Mayor and Council.
Absolutely.
My name's Alan Schuman, Chief of Bear County Fire Department. Jesse was appointed captain of the Fire Marshal's office really recently. He's been working with us quite a while. But there was a couple of things though that I just wanted to get on y'all's radar. Our responsibility as a fire department here in Bear County is my folks' safety, the safety of the community, the citizens that live here, and everybody that visits. And we want to make sure they stay safe while they're in Bear County. And we instituted a new program called Community Risk Reduction. And basically, I know some of y'all may know we were over at State Elementary doing fire safety education for the little ones. When we talk about community risk reduction, we're talking about everybody in the room. So we all stay on the right track, being safe around fire and other things, including medical emergencies. And we offer a lot from stop the bleed to hands-only CPR, and we do that all year long. So if you have people interested in that, we're more than glad to work through that and get you some education over here. But I think we were here tonight just for Captain Knight to kind of review and go over some festival things and just discuss some of the concerns that might be out there about what we're doing with tents and food trucks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Captain Knight.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. If y'all don't mind, let me kind of stand to the side so I can address y'all in the community at the same time. So, as Chief Schuman said, I'm Captain Knight. I'm the Fire Marshal for Bear County. I have a team of 2 other inspectors within the Fire Marshal's office that are a great help to me. One is Lieutenant Wiggins, who handles inspections, investigations, and plan review. And then Lieutenant Sean Gum, who has come on, and she is assigned for heading up our community risk reduction, public fire and life safety education. She has really taken off with that program, as Chief Schuman was saying. We have at least 2 to 3 events every week this month. Whether it's in a school, in the community, first aid, touch a truck events, we have at least 2 or 3 every single week this month. So that program has taken off great because we are concerned about the safety of the general public throughout Bear County, and especially in the city of Salem. So we are meeting with all the different city municipalities, with the exception of the city of Winder, because they provide their own service, to try to explain to everyone how we're revamping some of the laws that we have to enforce as the Fire Marshal's Division. Okay? But we're trying to streamline this process to make it easier for the community to be able to submit the correct documentation. So one of the things is the overall special events permit. Okay? These permits can all be found on our Bear County Fire Marshal website. Every one of them is online. It's a fillable document online, and as soon as you fill it out and click submit, it comes directly to our office in an email. So the special event application, when we do something here in the city, like the Sunflower Festival or the October Halloween event, then it would be on someone, either the city or the community, people, who does the planning and events. Is it separate individuals for each event, or is it one particular individual?
Generally, that's separate.
Separate committees. So whoever would be in charge of that particular committee for that event would be the one that would submit the overall special event permit, okay? They would submit that application. All we would need on there is a list of how many vendors that you plan to have, how many of those vendors are going to be distributing food, and how many of those vendors are going to be having a food truck. Because there's going to be a significant difference between having a food truck and having food being served and cooked underneath one of the 10 by 10 tents, okay? And both of them fall under different categories, okay? So it's up to that committee to submit that special event application. Then, advise if they are cooking under tents and serving food, they have a special food vendor application on our website that they have to handle and submit to us. That also, on that application, will advise them of the rules, laws, and regulations that apply to them for cooking underneath a tent. Such things as having an LP tank or a grill cannot be within 5 feet of that tent. Because the last thing you want is for someone to be cooking, having a deep fryer, and one of these tents go up, and then we have plenty of citizens and people visiting our community that could be hurt. So that's the absolute last thing we want. With the food trucks, anyone that is running a legitimate operational food truck will understand the laws that we enforce, because it is enforced statewide, it is state law, that they have to have a full suppression system in them if they are cooking inside them, full suppression system, full ventilation system, and these individuals are very familiar with that if they are serving anywhere else within the state of Georgia. Should. Let me throw that word in there. Should. Some areas do not have fire marshal offices at all in their jurisdiction. We are fortunate enough in Barrett County to have that type of division to be able to provide the extra safety levels that are required by the state of Georgia. Okay? So we want to make sure everyone was aware of that process. I'm more than happy to give anyone my direct contact information. Feel free to email me or call me with any questions you have. I'm happy to walk you through the website, walk you through the application process, whatever might be necessary to make the process a little bit easier. Okay? So that's going to be the big change. We're growing. Our community is growing rapidly, not just in Statham, but throughout Barrett County, everywhere. We've received in 12 different sets of plans this week for new construction in Barrett County within our office. 12 different sets of plans. So we're growing drastically. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you do schools, churches?
So, churches fall under a different category. We are more than happy to come out and do the fire and life safety code inspection in your church. We're more than happy to come out and teach first aid, CPR, AED training, whatever training y'all might like. But churches walk a fine line because you have to separate church and state. So, they do walk a fine line, but we're more than happy to make sure that everything is compliant with inside your facility and teach any training safety that y'all might wish to have.
I had that question because I go to this church on First Street. We're trying to expand the back, and we're going to change the bathrooms and stuff and make it, up to date. And we, our pastor wife was a nurse at the high school, one of our high schools. She trained us on a little bit on CPR, but the main thing, when we expand, do y'all have to come out there when we fully get done with the expansion, like doing the bathrooms and stuff like that?
So how that works is if you do any form of remodel, if you do 50% or greater of a remodel of the facility, you have to submit plans to the city, okay? The city then in turn notifies our office. We are given a set of plans. We review those plans, approve or deny or make suggestions on them. And then throughout the construction process, we actually pay 3 visits. We do a 50% of the project, 80% of the project, and then a final 100% of the project. And as for the CPR and first aid, we will provide that. That is provided to our community at no cost. The only time there will be a cost associated with that is if you would like to have one of the CPR first aid certification cards, and then that's $20 paid to the AHA, the American Heart Association.
I think, the mayor approved our expansion, and that's what, our pastor told us. And when we, talked about it, he said, that, City Hall, or, the mayor approved it. We can go ahead and expand.
Good deal. Big growth.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question concerning festivals.
Yes, ma'am.
How far in advance can our vendors do the application online? Let's say we have an event in May, can they be submitting things to you folks like in March and April?
Yes, absolutely. That's perfectly fine. I can work with y'all on whenever your cutoff date is, because I know every committee is gonna have a cutoff date for when they accept vendors. So I'm more than happy to work with y'all on whenever your cutoff date is, we can make it our cutoff date. And that's no problem at all.
So if we have somebody at last minute, 3 days before a cutoff, they could still,
Oh, no one does that.
yeah, sometimes it's the morning of, so, but those would be able to submit. All right, that was my question, thank
Absolutely.
you.
We can work with you. Yes, ma'am.
Is there, can they do this a lot earlier than March or April if the event was in May?
The applications are always on the,
Okay, so
on the
you
website.
have no time constraints.
No, ma'am. As long as they put on a date on there of when they're doing it and what festival they're doing it, it can be logged in the system.
Is there a fee?
That is actually the good thing. So here's how us at Bear County Fire Marshal's Office, Bear County Fire Department, work with our community. If it is a private event, we do have a fiscal approved fee for a special event. However, we do not charge that fee for our city municipalities within Bear County. We will not do that to our fellow citizens.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned Halloween. Halloween, comes here, we got thousands of people that come here. It's not a special event because it happens on Halloween. So it's gonna happen regardless, and we don't have any vendors that are signed up, there's no looking under tents and all that, so what do we do in that case?
Okay, is it something that the city is hosting? Has the city put out any information about, hey, we are having a Halloween get-together downtown or anything like that?
No, it's pretty much 5,000 people show up on Broad Street, mostly kids, trick or treat.
Okay, so y'all don't have a
No, we-
Halloween committee or anything like that?
No, we utilize the police department and volunteers to help traffic flow and stuff like that.
Okay,
Now, there are, neighbors helping each other out. We try to make sure that we can raise money to hand out candy. We do have a Facebook page where we interact with, people ask about the Halloween and all that, so it's all done by private citizens. It's not
Right.
a so-called committee that's ran by the city.
okay. And so if it is not promoted by the city, like the Sunflower Festival and things of that nature, if it is not a promoted city event, they are just out there trick-or-treating, that is a normal holiday type of event. That's not a special event that, condoned by the city.
And one of the goals that we do is, just like you, try to keep it safe. The
Right.
reason why, as, not just council members, but also as private citizens, we do work with the police department and, the Armory, Search, the American Legion, to try to block off roads. There are other volunteers that man the crosswalks and that sort of thing. We post that sort of thing on Facebook, and have maps show where the roads are blocked off, but it's still trick or treating. And the goal is to make it safe, because we know these kids are coming.
Everything you just said about posting on Facebook, I look at that as a public announcement. I look at it as a public announcement, because I'm pretty sure most likely the one to do it's gonna be Sergeant over at the police department.
Yeah.
He does a fantastic job with that. We have a great working relationship with Sam PD, so.
And just like the chief has told me, when you got 5,000 people coming in state, it's his responsibility regardless to protect the citizens that come in here.
You are absolutely correct.
Now, at the point that there's vendors selling anything of any kind, if that were to happen, then we have to go and get a special permit.
Then you're looking at a condoned special event, yes.
Okay.
But if they are just selling arts and crafts, all I needed is that vendor listed on your special events application. They don't have to fill out any other application, I just need them on your one special event application.
So if there's nothing being sold that night, then there's no event form that needs to be filled out. Okay.
Now, how about if, say, a resident is come together, they want to raise money, and it's a tent is set up on private property to sell, like drinks and stuff like that. I mean, no cooking, there's no flame, nothing like that.
You're dealing with something on private property.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, that's going to fall more into a city realm and a city police department realm of whether or not they are legally allowed to conduct that business on their private property. So that one is outside of our realm, it being a private residential property.
I'll buy you peddler's license.
So,
I'll buy you a peddler's license.
Yeah.
I believe, yes, sir.
Hey, even though our Halloween is not considered a city event, are there other cities that do publish that this is a city event? And if so, like what things do you see as the fire department that we might could adopt, even though it's not really about a city, just to help keep our city safe?
So I have been working diligently with City of Auburn. As you know, they do a lot of events in the City of Auburn. So getting them on track with the same process, I met with their planning and events committee and went over the exact same thing we're going over. So they are completely compliant. They understand anything that city promotes as a city condoned event, they are submitting. Now, if it's like they said, trick or treating, have a bunch of kids out here going house to house getting candy, that's not a city condoned special event. They're putting things out on Facebook to notify, hey, this road's gonna be closed for the safety of these children. This is a public announcement, and that's all that is.
Just a little bit of a backstory. We used to be affiliated and associated with the city because 5 years ago we recognized the need that we had 2,000 children in the stadium. So we used to have the support of the city and the administration and the staff, and we had an official Halloween committee, but the city doesn't support that anymore, so we had to disband, and that's why we ended up with volunteers. So that's, just a little bit of history and honesty about where the Halloween is at. But the event itself is formed completely organically. It's just grown and grown and grown, and it's a great thing, and I think it's great that we're trying to keep it safe.
So here's how we can approach this, okay? Even though it's not condoned by the city as a city event, okay? If y'all as citizens would like to sit down and fill out the special events application, it's not a whole lot, submit that to our office and say, hey, you know what, we want to be, work together with the fire marshal's office just as a community, by all means, feel free, and we will do our absolute best to make sure that we have representatives out here for the kids. Fire safety, education, fire truck if requested, we're happy to be a part of that.
That'd be amazing.
That's pretty cool.
We have a lot of CERT and the National Guard, and there's a lot of, community presence here, and it's really wonderful. The more the merrier, and it's growing and growing. We're just trying to make sure and stay on top of the safety aspect of it. We had a child that got hit right out in front of the subway in 19. Everybody remembers that. So that kind of precipitated the safety aspect of it, and that kind of moved all of it to the front.
And there's another area on our website that you can go to request a fire truck to come to your event. We are more than happy to be a part of any event going on in the community, whether it's condoned by the city or condoned by the citizens. We're happy to come and event anytime.
Can I ask you a question about that? If there is a special event form signed and they do that, is that putting any kind of liability on the citizens for the safety?
not for the safety aspect. What it is, it would be just like if the city does a special event, a Sunflower Festival, okay? Y'all fill out the special event application, all right? But as I go through and do my inspection, and I find someone that's cooking on a grill underneath a tent, I'm not coming to the city, I'm going to that business owner. That business owner is who's in violation of the code, okay? So no, they would not be liable, if anything, God forbid, were to go wrong.
Okay.
Now, let me wrap up, so we'll get out of here for you. So Jason will stand here and tell you everything.
I'm surprised I'm not done yet.
You gotta be dedicated to do their job. So, I don't think I've missed a Sunflower Festival since I came to work over here in 2012. I do go to all the Halloween up and down this road back here. And we do try to have a fire truck and an ambulance sitting there every time. Especially right here at this corner. And if people don't, y'all got the best Sunflower stuff ever in America. If people really saw what y'all guys do to make that event what it is, there would be, I don't know how you'd move around, much less, because there'd be more people here. There really would. Just a little bit of bragging about that. That is one of the super deals. We kind of, in the office, we compare a little bit about what the Sunflower Festival does, is bringing people to your town compared to what Auburn 4th of July Festival does, because it's pretty large. It's pretty large. Look at Sunflower Festival, y'all outnumber everybody over in Auburn. There ain't no doubt about it, because I'm gonna tell you why. The food that is served up here is awesome. I walked up here one year and I got 2 steaks that was big as my belly, and we ate on 2 days at the house. I mean, you can't beat that. And then it was like $10. But the other thing is, I buy a lot of stuff out here. My wife and I both buy a lot of stuff out here, and that is a great festival that you guys put on, and I admire y'all for doing that. That's a great festival you put on.
Thank you.
But if you need anything answered, if you're a little confused or anything, please get in touch with Captain Knight, Jesse. He'll guide you in the right direction. If he don't, call me. I'll get you in the right direction, I promise you. But, thank y'all for letting us come out tonight.
Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you, guys.
Appreciate it.
I got one more
Thank you
question.
for keeping us safe.
If people do have questions, do you have contact information available?
Yes.
It's on our website, and
It's on the website, and for anybody that has their, phone, you're more than welcome to scan. We actually use dot cards now, so you're more than welcome to scan, have all the information. So, I can give you my cell right now.
Well, I just, like, the website address.
Okay.
Just so people have.
It is Barrow, GA, firemarshal.org.
Y'all scan it here. Got it. I can pass it on to all of you.
I got tired of changing business card. We were changing like people, and this got ridiculous, so.
I do think y'all should come do, hands-on CPR at some of these festivals, because I have seen firsthand how that.
Oh, they want,
can improve
it saved lives,
Yeah, absolutely. We started doing that in 2019 in Jackson.
Our development of the community risk reduction program, that will be coming along. I've actually talked to Sergeant Cook over at State and CD, and next festival, we will probably be set up right next to him.
Good deal.
Yeah, we're working on it. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all.
Okay, that concludes the presentations. Before we start the new business, I'm going to ask for a motion to amend the agenda to add items 3 and 4. 3 would be Light Up Night, and number 4 would be Spring Fest. Can I have a motion?
Mayor, point of order, would that be under presentations or would that be under new business?
It would be under new business. Yes, we've concluded the presentation.
I'll make a motion to agenda, a new business agenda to include both of those items.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. First up on the agenda is the, I'm not sure who's gonna be speaking, but the Carl Hale Memorial Path, which is the path that goes from Railroad Street and kind of meanders through the wooded area and comes out on Broad Street next to Council Patterson's house. So,
I can speak on it.
all
I
right,
just wanted to,
the floor is yours.
bring it to the attention of the city that two of the lights are out right in the darkest part of that path. And that's a major path that we use for Halloween, so I want to make a request to make sure that those get fixed. They've been out for a little bit. And also, I have noticed that there has been, I don't know if people are gathering around in that area, but I have noticed that there has been liquor bottles. So I don't know if somebody broke them on purpose, so they want to hang out there. So, I mean, I don't know if maybe we should put some kind of trail cam there once we get them fixed, just to kind of monitor and see, you know, if anything's going on. But it's very dark, and we're going to have hundreds of people walking up that path for Halloween, and they just need to be replaced before that.
They were beat up by either a steel pipe or a ball bat. They were brutally attacked, I guess.
They're probably busting them so they can hide back there.
These are the kind of things that, you know, if citizens could call up and we could do work orders, that we'd already been on this.
Okay, well, the city took them down. I mean, somebody took them down, so they knew that they were broken, but they just have not been replaced.
I went down through there yesterday, and there needs to be some limbs cleaned up, hanging down pretty low too. Before Halloween.
Yes, well, I will address that. We normally do that as neighbors of Halloween, go down the sidewalks, trim all the limbs, go down the path. I know that we close off the path before Halloween. We try to make it safe so people don't trip or don't get hit in the head by limbs.
I have a question for the attorney. Okay. As a city, can we put trail cams down to watch these lights, or?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this particular trail. Is it public property? Is it a publicly maintained trail? Part of like
It's a path, yes, it's a
It's
walkway.
a sidewalk that goes.
But the city has maintained it and
It was dedicated to a former mayor, I believe.
the answer to that question is absolutely. Yes, we can install whatever safety measures we want to maintain.
Do we have to put up any signage saying it's being monitored or anything of that nature?
I'm not sure, I don't think so, but I can look into that.
Yeah, I know.
Let's put it this way, I know that there's no, believe it or not, there's no requirement that signage be placed in public parks or public spaces without closed captioning or about cameras being used. It's done mostly as a preventative measure. It's mostly done as a deterrent to make sure people know they are being filmed. But I'm not aware of a legal requirement. Georgia's a one-party state as far as recording goes, so as long as one party to the recording knows what's taking place, that's all that usually matters. And that includes the party actually taking the recording or the video. So apply to a city, I don't think there's that requirement, but I will look into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem putting signs up. I'd rather people know that they're being recorded personally, for full transparency, but I just know on that particular path, it seems not necessarily in the past 4 years, obviously we've had some problems, but I've been told in the past people have went down there and knocked over the lights. That's the reason why the lights were gone originally, is what I was told. So there's obviously somebody that goes down there and beats these things up. And I'd hate for us to continue to spend money as a city and just have this happen over and over and over again. So if there's the possibility of maybe putting trail cams or something there and letting people know, hey, we're watching to make sure you don't destroy our property. I think that's a good idea.
Anything else on that?
That's awesome.
Second is the request for porta potties for Broad Street for the Halloween celebration.
Yeah, this is something I requested to put on here. A couple of people on Broad Street asked me to ask the city to provide several porta potties because we do have so many people. When you got 3,000 kids or however many usually show up, there's bound to be one of them that needs facilities, so.
And there have been reports that people are asking the residents if
Yeah.
the kids could go in and use the restroom.
So, and I mean, this is a fairly inexpensive thing to make the whole situation better for people, so I think you said, what, $150 a piece is what y'all found?
Yeah.
So,
1 1/4 is what we paid at Sunflower, so it was 500 for 4. So,
so yeah, just wanted to get that one out there, so we can vote on it before Halloween.
Third on the new business is the light up night.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Gina Piper, and the city is going to do Light Up Night again this year. It'll be November 24th, which is Black Friday, in the evening. This will be our 3rd year or 4th year of doing this. 4th. We are planning to close the street again, which was successful last year. Kept everybody safe because we couldn't keep everybody off of Railroad Street before with cars coming. So I've already put an application in for the police department to close the street. We will hopefully be serving hot chocolate and cookies again this year. Eddie Shack has given us approval to use the building. The police department is trying to secure stuffed animals again. Enchanted Events will be there. We do not need porta potties because we will open up the public restrooms that's right behind, what is that behind? It's beside, behind the library and,
Community center.
yeah. So that will be open for them to be used. We always let the folks know that is there. So I'm just asking permission to go ahead and with this. We're hoping to do some new decorations around the gazebo and hopefully have as many kids as we had last year, maybe a few more. So just putting that out there. So it'll be Black Friday again this year.
How many people do you expect for that, you know?
Oh, good question. Last year we gave out, what, almost 300 toys?
Yeah.
And that's the kids. So we usually have parents there, adults there, kids,
500, 600?
probably, yeah, something close to that.
I think if this is something else that if y'all put it out there, more people will probably show up, because it was really nice getting to bring the youngin' up here.
Yes, and Santa will be there. Enchanted Events always provides a Santa and some of the characters, and of course, they have their booth up, so I guess I will have to make sure that we put out a thing for the fire department, because that is now a scheduled event. And the Grinch, yeah. I have no idea who all they're sending, but Santa's definitely one, there'll be 3 other.
Scared my grandson off last year.
Yeah. Well, the kids always have a really good time, and they do look forward to it, and it gives the families a chance to get pictures with Santa that doesn't cost them anything, and then, you know, cookies and hot chocolates. So please come out, and I'm always looking for volunteers to help decorate. So that's usually the week of Thanksgiving, we set up all the decorations. All right? Any questions?
Start on that Monday doing decorations, or?
Depending on the weather, yes, and that's, lighting up getting all the things out and, getting the trees put up, but I wanna get a few more things to put in that gazebo area. And we'll try to kind of maintain what we've been doing, and just expand it a little bit. But it'll be in that area from the, Blazers to, Jefferson, is what we'll close off.
I think it's great. Anything we can do to promote the city. Much like our 2 festivals, Halloween, the light up Christmas event, I don't hear anything but good things.
Yeah,
And
I always have a
appreciate-
blast at it, the kids are great. I love seeing the excitement of the kids and them getting to interact with the enchanted events and things like that.
I appreciate your efforts and everybody else that's on.
Thank you. Right, like I said, we're always looking for volunteers.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is Spring Fest. I'm not sure, okay, Van Oaks.
I'm Vance Oaks, I'm the president of the State of Lions Club, and we would like to hold our Spring Fest on May 4th, 2024, that's a Saturday, in conjunction with the city's cooperation. We'd like to get that approved, and also we'd like for the city, once again, to provide the porta potties for this event. We have a vendor application. Last year we had, how many? 84?
Yeah.
84 vendors, and we're hoping to increase that this year. So, anyway, any questions about that?
Hopefully it'll continue to grow.
Yeah, y'all did a pretty good one this year. We
Thank
had booth.
thank you for putting it on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, that concludes all new business at this point. Citizen input. We have
Sarah,
Good evening. I'm Sarah Bailey, and I'm at 1958 Broad Street here in Salem. And I'd like to talk more about porta potties. It's a humorous topic, but we all know the number of kids that come here for Halloween. The city used to provide porta potties in the past, and I know because we live right next to the school, and there was one there in the parking lot, and I can attest to how popular that porta potty was. And actually, it was one of the neighbors that was asked, we were asked repeatedly for those who were standing in line for candy, if they could use our bathroom, and that's kind of a slippery slope. You know, Halloween is a very welcoming and wonderful time, but, you know, and hospitality is a big part of it, but safety is also a huge consideration. And so I think along the lines of hospitality, having porta potties is part of that. So it would be wonderful to have those again. And also just as a side tangent and part of the hospitality of Halloween, a couple of years ago there were big Halloween inflatables that were put up right here out the window here. I know there was a big black cat and a horse and carriage and that kind of thing. And I know the kids really love that, and they like taking pictures there in the days leading up to Halloween as well as Halloween. It'd be wonderful to see those again. I don't know what happened to them, but we would love to see them. On that note, thank you for your time. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
I'm gonna need to know where these are to be placed. We can order them, but we're gonna need to know exactly where they're gonna be placed throughout Broad Street, so something for.
Yeah, I would say a couple of church, or one of the church, a couple of school, one down the other end somewhere.
Each in a broad and one in the middle.
I'd make sure that you have permission of property owners before you place a porta potty on the driveway. Or the parking lot.
We take care of the church, it's my part,
Yeah.
and anybody else, we.
But once they're set, we're not moving them. I'm not moving them.
We'll put one of these out.
Mayor Joe, just as an idea, I don't know, we have to try to do some cost and comparison or something, but would it be cheaper as our city grows and we constantly need more and more porta johns, would it make sense to buy a porta john and then just have a septic company come by and service it? See, in the long run possibly? And
I can look into that, because then you have, you know, every decision has repercussions.
Sure.
So you have it, but where do you dump it?
Well, the septic company, they don't have all kinds of ways they can do it, but it's more like storage, when we're not using them, where we can store them on another.
That's a bigger question.
Yeah.
Where we're gonna put
We can put it back in your house.
Right, put them in the alleyway.
Why don't you have a backyard?
I can certainly check into that.
Well,
It's not a
yeah,
bad idea because we had, you know, typically for Sunflower, we have one handicap and three, regular, plus we have the public restrooms. For some reason, when they did the porta potties this year, somebody at, Roll-Off, decided to only deliver 4 regular ones. That's not a bad idea.
Just as a cost comparison, you know, it may not make sense right now, but if we later on start needing 10, then it's gonna start adding up pretty quickly.
Okay, I'll check into that, thank you. Well, your
The
name?
city's logo and everything on
Your name?
My name is Michael Walter.
Oh, okay, I thought you were from there.
Stay alive.
Y'all done made me sit back there and get still. No, the Sunflower Festival was the biggest and the best. And we had several hiccups. One of them being that little fire marshal that just left. He was on my back the whole day. But you know what? He never found one thing that was wrong. I have a feeling he was sent here. 'Cause the first time that I knew he was even in town was 9 o'clock on Friday night. And he was out there grumbling to a vendor about how he had to set up. And that's the first time I knew. But I have heard later that, well, since then, that he had been here several meetings. I don't know why he didn't come to me, but he didn't. But he didn't find anything we were doing wrong because I was working on the Lynn Kane's rules. And everything went good. Finally, he found problems with the food permit cards. And they were the same cards Springfest used, because Miss Dean came to my house and got them that day. They didn't say anything to them, but I handled that. I just went and took them down. And that was just a few of the things. There were other things, but there was nothing that we couldn't handle. We had a great day. We made real good that we can put back in the community. We are already planning on helping with Light the Night, the Sunflower Festival. We'll buy the cookies, the hot chocolate. We will be there to serve them. I talked to the guy that bought the train. He's going to come over that afternoon, if it's okay, and we will pay him to ride the children for 2 to 3 hours for free. That is putting back in the community to them. A lot of children don't get to ride it the day off, but they can ride all they want to that day. And we are also planning a luncheon for all employees and you all, and thanks for y'all putting up with us and helping us get the thing up and going. Now, our next meeting for the Sunflower will be on the second Monday in November. I think that's on the 14th. And at that time, we have a decision to make about what's going to happen to the Sunflower Festival.
Monday, is the 13th.
13th, okay. Maybe we better change that day then. No, that's fine. We've always had second Monday. I don't mind doing the festival, but it's time somebody else knows what I do. In case, they had to pick it up and go with it. I don't know anybody that
could come to my house and just gather up everything and move forward with it. Nobody's ever took the time to look. So, I would love to continue to work with it, but I'm kind of tired of being in charge. So, got about a month so to think about it.
We appreciate all the work you put into it.
Yeah,
I'm in favor of changing the name to Betty Lyle Sunflower Festival.
We should, we really should.
You call it anything you want to.
I have heard of a few ladies around town that might be interested, but you're gonna have to talk to them, or they're gonna have to talk to you, so. Cause I know that's a big undertaking, you and Miss Dean and everybody else. Eddie did go with Car Show, so.
Eddie did, and Eddie seems to think that we're good for another year.
So,
But
it's something, I don't know if a lot of people in here have gotten a chance to take part in this, but I helped Eddie do that food giveaway a couple months ago. And that was good, getting to be able to give back to the community that way with money that the Sunflower Festival
well, we plan on doing another truck, probably in December.
It's a lot of work, but it's good work.
It is, it's good work. And you don't leave there tired, you leave there with a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't want to see it drop. I want to see it keep growing. But we ran out of dirt this time. I had 254 vendors, and we used every little inch that thought we could put a 10 on.
This is your biggest one, wasn't it?
It was, And for the last 3 weeks, I returned applications. I didn't even open them. I would just turn them around, put them in another envelope with a little note and apologize because we didn't have room to put them. We could have hit 300 easy if we'd have had the space, but it wasn't to be had. So, but that's something you all can think about and decide which way you want it to go, and whatever I can do to help, I'll be glad to do it. But it's time somebody else to charge. So, oh, and the vehicles that got towed, they were only 2 vehicles towed. And I wrote the checks and paid the tow bill because it was Auto Festival, and I had different reports. Some said they were told by festival committee members, park anywhere you want to, we don't care. I didn't hear any of it. In fact, I didn't even know anything was going on until after lunch, and I ran up on the mayor and he told me. And I immediately got on the phone with Mike's up there and got him to release the cars. I went on Monday and paid the tow bill. I thought that was the thing we should do. Even though they knew not to park in the road, they did it anyway. And if they'd have got out here and talked about how bad we were, I mean, that could have gone a long way. Maybe they'll get out there and say something nice. So, that's about all I got to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, son. All right. Well, at that point, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn for the evening.
Make a motion.
Second. This time, second. All those in favor? Thank you all for coming. $150.
But if you want.
Straight out there.
Slowly build up.
I think when you run out of forward, they were pulling. Got 5 more than you over here. Got 5 more than you over here.
Danny Place, okay, I'll go there with you after the last meeting, how's that? I'll make sure the wives and kids know, I'm still going to leave that day.
And then I know that somebody. She said, one down toward each tree. Nobody else put on problems. Then they put one or two in the middle. Right there. That all three. If we go with, handicap, I want to say that one but 4 regulars were 500. That should have been 3 regulars and handicap. But then that night, I make sure that there's signs. I don't know why they didn't put the signage up for our festival, but you might probably 100 people. You know, that had little kids, and I would go to porta potties. These kids, I had a daughter, she would not go to public restroom, let alone a porta potty. So, she said, you go up here and get your brains and back out. But normally they put signs out, and they do it. I know they start showing up. Even though we told them not, road.
Oh, yeah. 5. Will they come bring them out the night before or the day before?
Yeah, they'll bring them out, Wednesday, Halloween Wednesday.
Oh, another thing that we should.
Tuesday, so then Monday,
Trash cans.
Tuesday, you're on the
Trash cans out too.
We can, we can probably just wheel some of these down there for.
They're in the alley.
Yeah.
Before you get to the PD.
You wouldn't mind us wheeling?
The alley, that's what they're.
What if we just put them, if we come up, like Lynn and I can get them, if you're all right with that, we'll just put them up where the porta potties are and leave.
We can do that during the day.
Whatever, I was just trying to make it easier on.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, on the 31st, Tuesday.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, but.
Yeah, we're basically
Like
trying
they
to
know
tell everybody.
the porta potties usually. Noon and 2 is usually whatever day you tell them you need them. But, if somebody said something, and Nation said, I take exception that it was my screw up because they were supposed to be, 3 regular handicaps. And she said, even Joe had, and she had the email, she said, that was their screw. I said, well, whatever.
You
You did your job.
Well, I mean, you could provide 6 of them and people will 7 or.
Oh, yeah, you can't win. I mean,